Hello, welcome to the No Rest for the Vivid podcast. My name is Claire Hill, self-belief and business coach and founder of the Vivid Business Club. I wanted to share today about what it's really like running a business as a mum during the school holidays. And I think that we just need to get a little bit honest and real round here, guys, because it's an absolute arseache. So before I go into that, I just wanted this episode. Obviously, it's supposed to be a mini Monday. I feel like I'm going down this route of making these episodes a bit longer, and I don't want to. So I'm trying to be nice and concise, and just value pack these episodes out because I know you're the same as me. We haven't got much time to mess about. Let's get the value there. Before I go on to this value, and the value I want to take, what I want you to take from this episode is, I'm not alone. I'm actually, I'm not the only person that's feeling this right now. So I just wanted to do that for this episode. I feel like I need to hear it out loud for myself. Anyway, what am I saying? You know the drill. Go and check that you are subscribed and followed, and have you left a written review? If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, I just want to give you a massive shout out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having my voice in your ear rolls right now. And I would love and want you to go and leave me a written review in Apple Podcasts. And as a result of that, you will get put into a prize draw as long as you leave your Instagram handle to win £20 voucher of your choice. Like, whatever. Do you want to go to Starbucks on me? Do you want to buy yourself some highlighters from Amazon on me? Like pastel ones. Really treat yourself. Would you like to go to M&S for a lovely cafe lunch? Or where's posh? Wagamama's. Go and have a Wagamama's on me. Whatever you want, whatever that 20 quid's for, treat yourself. I want you to use this time to use that voucher on anything that you are doing without that's going to treat you. But you've got to go and do the written review first. So, real bit of a quite an honest episode about how I wouldn't say I'm struggling through the summer. We are beginning the third week, aren't we? Yeah. So he goes back to school. My son Jackson goes back to school 4 weeks today. And on the whole, I just reframe a lot. I say to myself a lot, I get to be at home with him. I get to spend the summer holidays with him. And I know that in previous lives, in my previous careers, one of the jobs I had, I couldn't have done that. And I just thought, God, what am I going to do when I have kids? And I worked with colleagues who had to pay out all of this summer camp and holiday camp things, and they were extortionate, or they had to take all of their annual leave in a certain period of time and all of this stuff. And I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do when I have kids? And when I actually had Jackson and then was a teacher, it was never going to be an issue. But now I'm in this weird position, probably same as you, where we don't have to work because, well, we do have to work. We've got to pay the bills, but we have this choice of when we work because we're running our own business. It fits around our lives on the whole, really, and we're there, and our children are here. So my son is a very bold child. With lots of opinions and lots to say. So the first thing that I am finding a challenge is the constant noise. Now, if you run your own business, you might be the same as me, that I have a lot of silence, sometimes a bit too much. But when he's at school and I'm working, it's quiet. Like, I can follow through on a thought, usually. Sometimes the phone rings or I've got a meeting or, whatever. But usually I thought my thoughts complete themselves. Not with Jackson around. Constant talking at me. Brilliant though. Do you know what? Some of the ideas and stuff he comes out with are classic. I wish I could write them all down. But that's one thing I'm finding a challenge, the constant noise. Secondly, the other thing that I'm finding a challenge is that he wants to play all the time with me. Now, Jackson doesn't have any siblings. Bit of a complex situation with that one day I'll share. That's what I'm going to say about it. But he's a sibling, he's on his own. And what do I do? Because he's only 5. Like, there's only so much time that he wants to spend on his own. Fair enough. Like, if I have to work, I lean into iPads and the fact that he loves a Nintendo Switch and a Disney Infinity. And I act like that time on an iPad or on a screen is nap time. My other business, Vivid Wire, or the first business, or the third. I mean, I think actually business-wise, this is my 5th business. When I think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 businesses. Anyway, I digress. Vivid Wire began when Jackson was a baby. So I used to use nap times like a complete ninja. It's what my whole Productivity Academy course is all based about, is working on nap time. So what I do now is act like he's napping. When he is still compliant, it's another thing that I'm finding a challenge. And I think it's the age. And again, please let me know if this is you too. But he is really pushing the boundaries. And so, though it's really fun having him, I'm having to like discipline him a lot and just be like, go and sit on the step, or you can't have that now. He did something last week. I won't go into details, but I was like, it took me back to being a teacher. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? He's my own son. I can't walk away from him. Not that you can walk away from kids when you're a teacher, but it's obviously slightly different. So he's pushing the boundaries. Anyway, when he's more compliant in the morning, one of the things I do is I just get him ready for the day. My child, however much he protests about wanting to be in pyjamas all day, he is like a different child when he's in his pyjamas all day. Please, has anyone else got this? So if he gets up and he's dressed and like ready for the day, even if that is watching TV and playing in his bedroom or whatever, he is a better child, like a better version of himself. Whereas, and I think that's about the fact that he thrives on that routine, and so do I. I wish I was that kind of person that could have a day with nothing. I really struggle without structure. Even if it's like, this hour we are going to sit in the garden and have a coffee. Then the next hour we're going to read a book in the garden and have a coffee. You know what I mean? Like, I could do that. I have to sort of plan relaxing. I'm so bad at relaxing. I am working on it. But so I get him up, I get him ready, and then I sort of program the day if I've got to do some work. But the first thing I have to do is microtask. Now, I've spoken about microtasking before. I'm going to refresh because I don't think it's used enough. But I write everything down. I brain dump as soon as I can. Brain dump everything. If that means I have to get up a bit earlier to do it, I will, even if I'm tired. The satisfaction of knowing that everything's in, like, I don't have to string my thoughts together as well as be a mum. I need it. So I brain dump everything, highlight what has to get done, and then put those numbers next to him, order the shit out of it. Because when he's distracting me, and this is why it works so well in your business, when you get distracted or you lose focus, I can just go, what number was I on? 2. All right, what's number 2? That's all I have to do. I don't have to go, what do I need to do next? To get decision fatigue, I've already sorted that out. So that's one thing. So when he's on these screens or whatever, I work like it's a nap time, and I'm like 15 minutes, Zoom. The other thing I do is I'm very communicative with him. Is that the right word? I communicate well with him and say, Mummy's got to do this. It's going to take this amount of time. Please try not to interrupt me. I'll be back. And then I go and spend quality time with him. So I do swap it. Now, I do appreciate I've got one child. And I'll be honest, sometimes I feel like, have I got I don't know, it's a bit of a vulnerable statement, but have I got enough right to talk about how challenging some holidays is when I've got only one child? And I said, I can't go into all of that right now. I will do one day, I'm sure I will. But right now, I'm just like, I've got this one child, and sometimes I find it tough, and that's okay. And when I'm operating the business and educate and saying to him, this is what I've got to do, I don't really have a choice. I can't say, go and play with your brothers and sisters, or go out, because he's 5, 6, I have to be there with him. And trying to teach him that the reason why I'm working is because, and also giving him, the other thing that I do in the holidays is I give him a job list. Say, right now it's your time to do your jobs, so that there's like a fairness about it, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm going to work, but then I'm going to be with you and I'm going to be really, really present. Another thing that I do in the holidays is I don't try and double multitask. I don't try and work at the same time as him wanting my attention. And that usually ends up with me answering a few emails or messages. And that's always when he wants my attention. He's talking at me and I can't hear him because I'm quite focused on something else. But part of my brain is going, your child is talking to you, and starts to like take me off. And I find that really challenging, and the energy being drained. The other thing I saw on a post from Ro from the We Are the She Collective, She Collective, who has been on the podcast. She's written on her a post today about really struggling to show up online, and that's one thing I'm really good at, is no shoulds in the summer. I do what I must do, or that I really want to do. And if that means that Instagram goes to the bottom of the pile, that's what it means. I'm really grateful to my past self for creating this podcast, so that at least I get 2 pieces of original content out into the world every single week, 52 weeks a year. Bloody brilliant for me. Also, just scaling back, like in August I've not had any one-to-one meetings. I've just got the Dream Team Mastermind and 1 session of the Vivid Business Club. But that kind of preparation I've planned since last September, that I wasn't really going to work in August. And the reason I'm having to do a bit more than I planned to, oh my god, did you see me jump? I've got the door open because it's hot and somebody's just revved their motorbike. You can probably hear it. So loud. I don't know who that is. I'm calling a podcast, mate. I've literally lost my train of thought now. I've lost my train of thought. That's so annoying. What do I do? That's it, scale back. And if Instagram's at the bottom of the pile, then it's Instagram's at the bottom of the pile. Oh, that was it. So I've everything has been delayed with creating my Productivity Academy course. That was supposed to be done and dusted by the end of July. It's leaked into August because I was really poorly and I had loads of tech issues, and I am the IT support, so what could I do? So I'm having to operate a bit differently. But one other thing, and I do appreciate, thank you if you carried the thread of this. But the other thing I do is I wear him out. I go out with him in the morning, and as early as physically possible, I get him out and I make him run, or I take him to the park and just chase him, or I get him to chase Skylar, or we go shopping and I make him push the trolley, like little things like that, like to try and physically exert himself so that he can focus a bit more. Because one thing that my child cannot do is focus when he's got a lot of energy. And I tell you who else is like that? Me. I tell you what, it's really wonderful being in a position at my age to see my son, who is very similar to me on all of these different levels. He's so much of his character and his energy I can see that from myself, though my husband is a banging character as well. But how I can teach him to be himself and take up that space. And before I wrap this episode up, one, I hope, please let me know if any of this is resonating with you. And and also, before I'm going to tell you the story about Aldi, but before that, your business is not going to collapse if you aren't doing all of the things in August. I hope, there we go, it's fireworks for you. There we go. I hope that you have enough income streams in your business to have a passive recurring revenue that is coming in every month. Okay. If not, really consider, and I urge you to go and get yourself on the Vivid Business Club waiting list so I can teach you how to do that. Okay. But your business is not going to collapse if you have August off. And do you know what? Sometimes it's the best thing is to do is to just go, I'm just going to have a rest. I'm actually just going to rest. I'm going to have 4 days just being a mum, or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever. I've had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, completely being mum, barely looked at my phone, didn't touch my laptop. Brilliant. Begging, gagging to get back into the office today because I was recharged. So I'm going to share with you this story before I wrap up about my son singing in Audi, and I shared it today inside the Dream Team because one of the members was saying that we did some shadow work, and a negative feeling that she wants to, or a feeling she wants to avoid the most is embarrassment. And one, we can detach our feeling away from that label. We aren't the feeling. So she can say, I feel embarrassed, but that doesn't mean she's embarrassing. And I was telling her that on the other side of these things that we are working towards, there is always a cost. There's always a cost before we get there. And sometimes that is to feel embarrassed. And I was in Audi with Jackson the other day. You still hear that bloody motorbike. Hopefully it's not picking it up. But I was in Audi with Jackson and we were picking up a few bits, and we had just finished or started listening to Hakuna Matata in the car before we got out of the car. And he was saying, he started singing it at the top of his voice. And you could see that his confidence was just starting to shine. Anyway, we take it in turns. So he is Timon and Simba, and I am Pumbaa. And at the point of when it was Pumbaa's turn, he's looking at me like, you're going to sing then, mummy? Now, I very easily could have said to him, we don't sing in Audi. We can't, and made him feel like he should shrink. But I was like, but what is that going to do? Could it be that if I actually sing, am I going to see these people again? Do I choose to feel embarrassed? Or do I choose to be like, I'm bigging my son up here? So I started singing. Top of my voice. I wouldn't say I was really loud singing, but I was singing. And his face lit up. Now, all around that shop, I am sure that some people were rolling their eyes or tutting or thinking, oh, quieten down. But what I wanted to look out for, and I made that decision as soon as I was like, he's singing in Audi, but I'm going to look out for the smiles. And that's what I saw. I saw him lighting people up by the fact that he was being his most vivid self. Even though I felt a little bit embarrassed, but I thought, what's the benefit of this? That might be a cost, but what is he, and me, I suppose, going to gain out of him seeing his mum and him not squash him and say, don't be too loud. Just show up, babe. Just be yourself. If you want to sing, sing. And the confidence, I'll tell you now, he has not stopped singing since. And it's like there's been a switch. So though it is even more noisy, I have a little superstar, and I'm proud that I get to be his mum. And I get to be his mum in the summer holidays. Oh, I'm getting emotional. Because we get to do this, and I want you to have that reframe. Though it is challenging, though it is tough, and I'm sure for a lot of you it's tougher than what I have, but I want you to know that I'm with you and that we get to do this. We get to be mums of our magic little kids. And I'm just so proud that I am the mum that I needed. I'm really proud of myself. So there you go, I'm going to wrap up there. That was supposed to be quick, it's 20 minutes. Hopefully you enjoyed your walk wherever you're listening. Don't forget to leave me a written review. And what else? And don't forget to subscribe and follow. And message me. I'd love to hear what you thought about this episode. And hopefully you are not finding it as challenging as I am. Okay, take care, lovely. Speak to you soon.